All right, I'm here to give a quick disclaimer before the video begins. We recorded this right before the Myles Garrett injury news came out. I don't personally think that the Myles Garrett injury news is going to amount to being a story. I think he's going to play on Sunday. So everything that we say in this video is still valid. We just didn't bring it up, and I wanted to bring it up beforehand and acknowledge it and say, yes, it is a thing. He was out Thursday with a hip injury, but I expect Myles to play on Sunday. Erik does as well.
How many sacks will Myles Garrett have on Joe Burrow?
Six.
6?
Six.
Okay. We are going to talk Browns Bengals opening weekend Battle of Ohio to start off the NFL season. But first, we have a few things coming up that we're really excited about, including some live shows. We'll be live Sunday at Muni Lot. We can't wait. Look for our flag flying high in the sky with the At the Office logo. We should be easy to find. The following week, we'll be at Slim and Jumbo's in Garrettsville. Bit of a hike for our Cleveland listeners. But it's the dog walk. We're going to be hanging out and going live at 11, so come say hi. And then back to Muni Lot, this time at the kennel. It's that great big beautiful bus painted in Brown's colors right at the entrance of Muni. We'll be there at 9:30 going live. So come say hi. And we also have a giveaway.
We do have a giveaway, and it's good to be able to speak. I'm used to ripping it all off the top of my head because you haven't been here the last couple days. E, good to see you, by the way. But we do
Yeah,
have a
you too.
giveaway. We do have a giveaway. All you have to do is subscribe to At the Office and leave a comment on a recent video. You will be entered to win a Browns jersey of whatever player you choose, shipped to your door in your size. Winner chosen October 1st.
That is exciting. I want to talk Browns Bengals. As Noah mentioned, I've kind of absconded from my duties a little bit because I'm at the beach, if you can't tell, and I'm just living life. I might never come home. We'll see. But I do want to talk Browns Bengals because, first of all, this is a hell of a game to open the season, going in division rivalry, in state rivalry. I want to hear your thoughts, Noah. The line is 5.5 right now. So break down for me what you're thinking. I assume you have the Browns winning.
Yeah. So first of all, I want to shout out an appearance I did for Running Through the Jungle, which is one of our fellow fans' first contributors. Shout out Tim Lyons over there. I was on that show, talked a little bit about this. So if you want the extended cut, the extended version with some Bengals information in there, go check out their video and their audio. Now, do I have the Browns winning this game? Is the Pope Catholic? Do I wake up to go to work every morning? Is Erik on vacation right now? Yes, I have the Browns winning this game because the Cincinnati Bengals always start the season slow. They've tried to counteract it. That's great on them. They played Joe Burrow for like a half of a preseason game. They're still going to start slow. It is the Zach Taylor phenomenon. They are legit 1-11 under Zach Taylor in weeks 1 and 2. So I'm predicting a 1-12. What do you think, E?
Yeah, I'm taking the Browns too. Listen, my keys to the game here, and I'll just jump right into it. We've got to win in the trenches on both sides of the ball. If we can do that, we can protect Joe Burrow. I think we have a shot at this game legitimately, not just as a Browns homer. The interesting matchup for me is going to be DeJuan Jones and Trey Hendrickson. Hendrickson obviously re-signed recently after all that drama over the offseason. That's going to be interesting. So if we can protect Joe Flacco, give him a little bit of time, I do think that we'll be able to pull this one off. It's a 5.5 line, which isn't a lot in the NFL, obviously, for a reason. That said, I do look for Cincinnati to get off to a faster start, but seeing them in early preseason and practices and whatnot, I'm not sure who's protecting Joe Burrow. They don't look that great, honestly. They signed 3 guys to huge contracts, and I'm not sure what the rest of the team really has to offer. This is one of those teams that Joey B is going to have to carry, and I'm not sure he's up to the task.
Yeah, the main matchup I'm looking for is actually Myles Garrett versus that offensive line because Joe Burrow is the type of quarterback that, unfortunately for Bengals fans, takes a lot of sacks, regardless of how good, how bad, how in between their offensive line is. He is just one of those types of quarterbacks. Him and Shador Sanders are two peas in a pod when it comes to that kind of thing. So when I open with our open and joke about Myles Garrett getting 6 sacks, if we get 6 sacks, we're going to blow this team out of the water because of the fact that the matchup, honestly, in my head, is Joe Burrow versus Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett coming off the edge, how quick he can come off the edge. If he's going to do his little basketball layup and dive through the middle of the line to sack Joe Burrow, I can't wait to see what Myles Garrett does to this shaky at best Bengals offensive line. I mean, they just named their last starting guard, I believe today at time of recording. If not, it was earlier this week. So there's a lot of storyline beats going out there in terms of the trenches. In terms of the Browns, the one thing I'm looking forward to, well, not looking forward to, but looking at is, of course, slot corner, something we've talked about at length on the show before. Is Cam Mitchell going to be able to rise to the occasion against not one, but two fantastic receivers in this division rivalry matchup?
It's funny that you say Myles Garrett because obviously we know what he offers and what he brings to the table. But the two that I'm really looking at here are Mason Graham and Malik Collins. I think they're
Yeah.
going to get off and have a monster day. You could do things to Miles like chip him. I think you'll see a lot of that because he's such a disruptor. But you're leaving the rest of the team. Schwessinger's another one. How's he going to perform? Will he be the Mike, by the way?
Yeah, Schlesinger is, I mean, yeah, I think so. That's what they have listed on the depth chart. Let me pull that depth chart up for you real quick, too. He's the green dot. He's going to be the anchor this season. They are expecting him to step into that JOK role and hopefully dominate. I mean, everything that we have seen from the kid this preseason has pointed to the fact that he will dominate. He will have a great season. How many times does a rookie linebacker, a rookie at all, mind you, get the green dot in their rookie year? Not to hit rookie 16 different times, but
Right. But it should be, yeah.
this is an anomaly. This is a really good sign for what was our first pick in the second round, our top two picks. I cannot wait to see play in Mason Graham and Carson Schlesinger. I am an offensive minded player, offensive minded person, rather. I was an offensive player. I played O line. I'm more excited for the defense right now just because of all the different pieces and intricacies that could happen under what is a great coordinator in Joe Woods.
I agree. Two things for me. Look for a lot of screens from the Bengals, in my opinion, to try to counteract that and get the ball out of Joe's hands quickly. Also, though, our offense does need to be productive here. We can't go 3-and-out and expect the defense to stay on the field and continue to force turnovers, et cetera, et cetera. While I do think that this game hinges on our defense, we've got to give them some time to breathe on the sideline in between in series because every defense is going to break down at the end of the day. I don't care who it is. If it's a Super Bowl winning defense, they can't be on the field 24/7. So we've got to make some moves on the offensive side too, which I think we will. The Bengals defense is not that stout. We have one of the more mature offensive lines in the NFL. Noah talked about that the other day on his solo episode. I have the Browns favored here by a decent amount, I gotta say.
Yeah, you talked about the offense. I want to bring up another question with the depth chart. I don't know if you saw, but wide receiver 3 right now is listed as Jamari Thrash. Do you think we're going to see Jamari Thrash play a good, pivotal, interesting role? Or do you think he's just going to be out there to run the routes and we're going to mainly focus on the tight ends and, of course, Jerry Jeudy?
It's a good question. I think we'll probably mainly focus on tight end sets, mixing and run. It's about ball control here. We want to play a clean game where we don't turn the ball over. So I don't think we're going to go crazy, and I don't think you'll see craziness from Jamari Thrash. But he is one that stood out during preseason and during camp. He caught a lot of good balls. So if he can run his routes clean, he may have opportunity, as the defense is loading up on Judy, or if Njoku's starting to have a monster of a game and they start to press in a little bit, you might be able to see him get free in the backfield. It really just depends on the flow of the game, but I wouldn't expect things scripted or dialed up for him that are quote unquote crazy to start.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I'm curious what you think Joe Flacco is going to look like in this game. I think he's going to look like Joe Flacco normally does and have that hot start. We'll see what that looks like come week 7, 8, 9, 10, or however long he ends up being our starter this season. But I could see him easily is a strong term, but I could see him easily getting to 300 yards. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's a big number. I don't want to put a number on it, I guess, but I he needs to just control the game and manage the game. You should with this defense, you should be able to eke out a win by playing clean, like I said, not turning the ball over. He doesn't have to be that Super Bowl winning, throw it down the field, taking big shots kind of guy. That's not his game anymore. And I hope that he realizes that. Yeah, you could take a shot once in a while. I'd love to see if it's 2nd and 2, you damn well better be taking a shot down the field. Like
A
that's
little play action
your
moment. Why not, right?
exactly. That's your standard play call there, right? Why not? And you have Judy, you have a guy that could go down and get it. But that said, I don't expect him to just be throwing all over the place, because that's not the keys to the game here, in my opinion.
Yeah. So we just talked a little play action. So it makes me think, what is your prediction? First play of the game, the Kevin Stefanski script. He's got the Denny's menu in front of his face. What is the play? Because I have an answer that's similar to my Ohio State answer.
I think, in my opinion, I think Flacco will be under center. He's going to turn and fake the handoff to his left. He's going to pop out. You know how he pops up? And it's going to be an out route to probably the right. I'm going to see him hitting a tight end, maybe even the back, for a small gain.
So I have play action shot. I always go play action shot. If I was an offensive coordinator, every time play action shot first play in. But realistically, knowing Kevin Stefanski, knowing our emphasis on the run this year, uh, inside zone with Jerome Ford, just a handoff up the middle for the first play. That's kind of where I'm at, honestly.
I hope not. You could see it going either way. I could definitely see Kevin, though, calling a pass play to start the game. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me at all. I would lean that way if I had to bet one way or the other. But then again, you just don't know. He will have a great scripted first series. We know that about Coach Stefanski. The
Yes, we
first
do.
one or two series, look for them to be really sharp. Now, as the Bengals adjust, whether or not Coach Stefanski adjusts in turn, that'll be a interesting thing to watch out for, because I know I've been critical. Noah's a little more, he
I'm a
likes Stefanski
fanboy.
a
I'm
little more than I do. A fanboy's a good way of putting it.
I'm a fanboy.
You are. I'm a little more critical. I like Stefanski. I'm not saying we get rid of him. I've never been on that bandwagon, but he does frustrate the hell out of me at times with some of his play calling, and that happens after that first series. First series is great, so we'll see how he adjusts.
Yeah, I am curious to see what that first script looks like because it's normally a masterclass. Sticking with the offense for a second, I have another question for you because I have some high expectations for who is listed at number 2 wide receiver, and that's one Cedric Tillman. He looked
Yeah.
awesome at spurts before his concussion last year. What do you think of Tillman this year? Do you think he's going to have the breakout year it looked like he might have when Jabo Eat a W was throwing him the balls? Or do you think it's going to be much more of the same what he was prior to last season before the concussion?
No, I'm with you actually. I think we do see a bit of a breakout year from him. I'm excited about this receiver core. I mentioned that we should be adding guys. We did add Isaiah Bond, of course. But the more I look at it, and after watching them in preseason, even Gage, I know that's crazy. Like, they all kind of excite me. Maybe it's because they're a little more raw and fresh, but from Tillman, I do expect a step up and a continuation of what looked to be what would be a good season, before that injury. So I think I do expect more out of him, and we'll see it, in my opinion.
It's funny that you mentioned Gage, and maybe it's the rawness and the new face. It's the same thing with the rookie quarterbacks. It's the same thing with any rookie. I think that's what most Browns fans are holding on to in terms of excitement for this season is the fact of the unknown and the excitement of the rookies and how great some of them have looked, whether it's Aiden Huntington, who is a UDFA, all the way up to Mason Graham, who looks as advertised at pick number, what was it, 7, 5, wherever we ended up falling.
Harold Fannin Jr. is another one. I expect him to play nicely as that second tight end role, and a guy that I think you'll see both Njoku and Fannin out there together with two tight
100%.
end sets quite a bit, and I think that's going to bode well for us.
That was here's a little off base question because Harold Fannin did change his number. I don't know if you saw this. I know you've been on the
I
beach a
didn't.
bunch. He was 88 in the preseason, which I think is an awesome tight end number. He went to 44, the number he wore at one point during his time at Bowling Green. How do you feel about 44 on our backup tight end, potential future starting tight end?
I'll say I'm a little old school in this respect. I don't like when you see a wide receiver that's number 5, it just doesn't sit well with me. Um, they should be in the 80s, etc. I don't care at the end of the day, have whatever number you want, but it's a little weird. I'm just so used to certain position groups having certain numbers, and now it comes off a little weird to me. But that's old school
See,
thinking.
I kind of love it because it reminds like if they have him back there in like a back set, like they motion him out and have him come back and do two back set, like 44, big back, Harold Fannin does a little bit of everything. I think it's a fun number. And the 40s, I feel like are always viewed as ugly football numbers. So I'm all the way here for a dude that I think is going to be a stud for us at some point, wearing a number that might suggest he's, okay. Let's turn our attention to the special teams now. Andre Schmidt is making his debut for the Cleveland Browns. Honestly, his NFL debut, too. He's only been on practice squads prior to his stellar UFL season last year. What do you expect out of one Andre Schmidt in this game, the Battle of Ohio, 1 p.m., Huntington Bank Field?
Honestly, I think it'll be steady as she goes. I know that sounds a little crazy considering he's not really a rookie, but a rookie for all intents and purposes. But I every time Dustin Hopkins went to kick even an extra point, you clench up a little bit because you didn't know what was going to happen. I don't feel that same way, at least so far, with Andre Schmidt. I think he's going to have a normal game. I'll give you my prediction later that involves him, but I think I don't think there's going to be much to write home about, which in this case is a good thing.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what this kid can do. I love the prototype of doing good in the UFL and then coming over. We use Brandon Aubrey as an example all the time. Stefanski was questioned about him a little bit in a presser earlier this week, and he was talking about how Schmidt, of course, has already been down to Huntington Bank Field a couple times as soon as this week. He's been there a couple times this week to practice kicking in what has always been a treacherous stadium to kick in for kickers if you don't get how
Yeah.
the wind tunnels work and whatnot. So it excites me. And at the same time, if he messes up, I mean, there's a plethora of kickers out there that you can dive into a pool. But it excites me that he follows that prototype of kicker that succeeded in UFL to then play in the NFL. So special teams, it'll be an interesting one. Erik, any other thoughts you got going on for this game?
Well, why don't we get into our final predictions?
Let's do it, man.
um, and how we expect the game to go. So for me, I think it's going to be pretty tight. I do have the Browns winning. I'm going to say 24-21 on an Andre Schmidt last second field goal. Not last second as in time expires, but that will be the last play to seal it. So I'm going Browns 24-21.
I'm going Browns 23-14. I think the Bengals start out slow. I think they do not make it a bunch of touchdowns happen in this game. This is what kind of happened last time we played them in week 1 at Huntington Bank Field. Joe Burrow was under 100 yards passing in that game. Myles Garrett was wreaking havoc on the Bengals. So I think that they'll be a little bit better than less than 100 yards passing. I think they get 2 touchdowns, but the Browns also get 2. Plus, Schmidt stamps his entrance into the NFL with 2 field goals to bring it to 23-14.
We do typically play the Bengals well. I want to move now to our parlay picks because Noah and I are going to do a new thing where we pick a three-legged parlay each week, put $10 on it, and we're going to track throughout the season who has the best parlay and the most winnings. And then at the end of the season, there's going to be some sort of punishment for the loser. We'll see what that is to be determined. Noah, let's get into your picks first.
Yeah, my picks are simple because I'm not picking anything against the Cleveland Browns in week one. I got to have the hype, man. So we have the Browns money line. We have a David Njoku anytime touchdown, and we have Joe Flacco for 250 plus yards. That is a plus 1,027 odds. $10 wins you $100, $102.70. These were the odds according to FanDuel as of 9:03:25. Eric, do you like my parlay?
I do like your parlay. I try not to bet on the Browns or against the Browns because I just feel like it's bad luck, bad juju. So I personally don't normally take Browns. Anytime touchdowns, that's fine, whatever. But I try to avoid it because it freaks me out a little bit. So I went in a little bit of a different direction. My three picks are just anytime touchdowns. Walker, St. Brown, and McCaffrey. They're pretty safe picks, honestly, to have an anytime touchdown. $10 wins you $76.50. So Noah will be in the lead if both of our parlays hit. But I went the safe route with week one.
I was gonna say someone's afraid to do a punishment or something like that with that minuscule. Oh, we're gonna have some running backs and the best receiver on the Lions score. Nah, Joe Flacco's going crazy. The Chief is scoring in week one, and the Browns are winning. I'll play it a little risky, and I'll do the punishment need be.
Don't you worry. I already have ideas for the punishment too. So
I think the
it'll
viewers should have some input as well, depending on where we're at with this whole thing at the end as well. I think that would make it a lot of fun.
Yeah, drop a comment with your ideas. If you have an idea for punishment that you want to see one of the two of us at the end of the season do, let us know.
For sure.
All right, Noah, before we wrap it up, is there anything else that you have for Browns, Bengals in general?
I don't have anything off the top of my head. I'm excited to be in the Muni lot talking some more ball this weekend with you home from vacation. Sorry that you're going to be home for vacation. I'm
We'll
excited to
see.
go see the game. I'm excited to chop up the game after the fact. I'm just happy NFL football is back, baby.
Yeah, catch us at Muni Lot. I'm so excited for that. So excited to get together in general. It's going to be a good time. The debate never ends, but the show does for now. We'll see you next time.